What's up, everybody, to the Horseman Podcast. Welcome all. Come all to the best place in the game for your pro wrestling news. It's your boy, Mars, a.k.a. Marlon Beardo, the Bearded Weirdo, the Bearded One. And I am here with my forever counsel, my wise man, the Prince of Christian Mingle, the Pharaoh of Christian Mingle, my wise man, Dub Deuce, aka Big Gerald. How you doing today, brother?
Man, everything is lovely, man. What a show last night. There was some highs, there was definitely some lows, and man, I can't wait to talk about
It was a hella of an event, a Royal Rumble like none other, on some crazy news. So we got a supersized episode. First of all, I want to thank you guys for making the first two episodes a stellar success. It could drop consecutively the day before the Royal Rumble and the day of the Royal Rumble at 11 a.m. And they've already surpassed over a couple of thousand views already, and with very little marketing. So this is a brand new journey for us, myself and Big Gerald. We want to thank you guys all. Also want to give a special thanks to our brother Kyle Jones, who guest starred on the second episode. He was so damn good. We might bring him back in a few minutes to talk about the Royal Rumble. So we are going to get right into it. We're going to talk about the Royal Rumble, and of course, we're going to talk about the Vince McMahon news because that gets a little spicy. So we're going to save that for later. But hold on. I think there's somebody at the door, knocking at the door. Let's give him a grand entrance. Who's there? Oh, snap. He's back. He couldn't get enough. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, brother? I think he's still frozen right now. So we're going to bring him back.
Gorilla.
He's sitting there like a deer in the headlights. So we will bring him back shortly, man. But
like
first
a
of all,
Hart promo.
Lift available on Netflix. So what did you think, man? What did you think about the 2024 Royal Rumble overall? If you had to give it a grade on a scale from A to F or F to A, however you want to count it.
I started like this. If this was just the Royal Rumble product for it coming out, I'd have said it was an average Royal Rumble. I gave it a C. But with everything going on with the Vince McMahon scandal and how Triple H, who is really, really pushing again, even though it's just January for Promoter of the Year, how they had to flip it on its head and not only put people in place in the men's Royal Rumble, but to pull off a women's Royal Rumble, which may be the best women's Royal Rumble we've seen. I'll give it an A minus.
So graded on a little bit of a curve there. Absolutely, man. The men's Royal Rumble left a little bit to desire for me. Women's Royal Rumble knocked it out the park. I don't think anyone handles women wrestling better than Triple H, and I'm confident in saying that. With the controversy, with the fact that in that morning they had lost their primary sponsor, was still able to pull it back. I agree. I'm going to grade it on the curve, and I'll give it a solid B plus. I definitely enjoyed some things. There things were a little funny, but we'll get into those shortly. So we're going to go right in order, and we're going to break down each particular match and what we thought of each particular match. So we're going to start off with what opened the night, the Women's Royal Rumble. As you mentioned, probably one of the best women's Royal. I think this is the 7th or 8th women's Royal Rumble. They didn't have to rely on bringing back Michelle McCool or Lita, Molly or any of the legends. They were able to pull straight from their talent, hit some shots, some surprises. So first of all, what do you think about the surprises that we had in Royal Rumble? Namely, probably let's talk about Naomi. I don't know if that was a surprise for all of us, but how did it feel when you hear that? It's amazing.
So I'm telling myself, once she dropped the belt in TNA, okay, she's coming back. She's going back. The wounds have healed. She's coming back, and she came out at number 2. It was a great nostalgia moment. I appreciate the fact that Natalia, who's an awesome vet, was allowing her to get it in. soak it in as they cheered her on. Of course, she's from Florida, so that made it an even bigger spot for her. Um, yeah, I think that was great. The biggest surprise for me was the fact that the lady that she lost the belt to, Jordan Grace, showed up, who's a monster in her own right, and was able to get her shine throughout the Royal Rumble match, not just a one off. They didn't do it like Mickey James.
Right.
They didn't
I'm
do it
in.
like
I'm out.
listen, she was able to get some shine in. I think that was wonderful. Naomi lasted for a long time. She didn't have I appreciate the fact they did not make her do anything out the way as far as surviving in the Royal Rumble match. She was able to wrestle.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest thing in this Royal Rumble. It was pure wrestling. It was, if you got eliminated, you got eliminated. No doubts about it. I know they had the Piper Nevin Chester Dream thing, but overall, as far as surprises, the biggest thing for me, and I know we're gonna laugh about it later, our truth may be one of the best things going in the WWE right now. I said it before. I'll
In
say it
all of
again.
pro wrestling,
Yes,
I'm gonna say bigger than the
he
WWE. He's a national treasure.
he is comedic timing perfection. Uh, he when he came out, the way they cued his music right when the female wrestler about Hollow was going in, he ran into the ring and was face to face with Nia Jax again and looked lost like where the men was at, but clearly looked intimidated. It was great. I thought it was wonderful. The women's Royal Rumble was hands down match of the night.
Yeah,
It's not
easily.
close. I know we're going to talk about the championship match in a minute, but when that wins Royal Rumble. And what did I say? Oh, they treated her like a superstar. Jade Cargill is bona fide now. She came out, she looked amazing. She was strong. She didn't have to be gimmicky. And man, when she threw Nia Jax over the top rope, like the crowd just immediately erupted. Also, a Florida girl, so there was that. But speaking of Nia Jax, and I'm going to preface this as saying I enjoyed this match very much. I think Nia Jax is a phenomenal wrestler. I think she is a great human being, but she is a botch machine. She almost killed Chelsea Green last night. If it wasn't for Alba Fire, I mean, goodness, most of her big spots were botch after botch after botch. It lends to the question: is it that she? I don't think that she's not talented. I think she has a tremendous talent, but is it just things that she refuses to work on that makes her unsafe? Because as much as we like somebody, we definitely don't want to see no one's parent, sister, aunt get hurt in a match trying to put her over. She's a dangerous wrestler to work with.
Yeah, she's very very reckless from what I can see, and I don't know if it's a situation of just not knowing her own strength because she's so strong, or a situation where I just don't really care. I hope it's not the latter. I agree with you. The women's Royal Rumble was far and away one of the best spots of the night, and maybe that's the new thing with the TNA title. You get the TNA title, you get a spot in the Royal Rumble. I love I know Triple H said he doesn't want to use the Forbidden Door cliche, but I love this is something I don't think you really would have seen under Vince, even though Mickey James did come back, and I think Vince was technically in charge when that happened. Clearly that was facilitated by Triple H. But hold on. There's someone back at the door making their grand
Uh oh.
entry, making a surprise run into the match. Oh snap! What's up, founder of Blow the Whistle Sports, the one and only Kyle Jones? What's up, brother?
What's up, fellas? I'm back. I'm back. So what y'all getting into? What y'all talking about?
And you know what it is. We're talking about the women's Royal Rumble match. I know this is something that didn't even exist back when you were looking at pro wrestling, but that's right. They have enough women on the roster now to have a 30-woman Royal Rumble, and we were talking about some of the highlights. Jordana Grace, of course, she is the TNA World's Champion. She
Who's that? The
came.
Rock.
Jordan Grace. Gotta
Oh,
be
okay.
careful in this climate, brother. You don't want to
My
get
bad.
canceled now.
Yeah, episode 3. Like, and then of course the debut. We've been waiting for a long time. The superstar Jade Cargill. Uh, remember she had that little spat with Bow Wow.
Oh, the
Yeah,
chick.
she was
He
gonna.
tried to holler at her or something.
Yeah, he tried to holler at her, and obviously that didn't work out well for him. But
And so, man, let me tell you, Bow Wow didn't have a her boyfriend used to play for the Braves. He don't need Bow Wow pretending to be rich still. Don't nobody want that drama.
Oh, well, we ain't doing no Bow Wow slander.
I mean, hey, it ain't slander when it's fat.
Bow Wow sitting
No.
on someone else's private jet talking about yeah, I'm sitting on the PJ. They're like, get your ass off and get back to cleaning. He's like, oh, sorry. Shout out to Bow Wow. He's an urban legend. But yeah, overall, the women's Royal Rumble was phenomenal. Top job. Best match of the night. And maybe 2 years in a row, best Royal Rumble. Had right surprises, right content. And once again, keep your eye out on this woman. I think she needs just a little bit more time in the oven. I did notice she had a few botches. She was trying to do her little Booker T kick and just kick the air. No one was there. And she may have overestimated her strength. I think she was trying to drop Nia Jax from the top rope, and it was a little too far away and kind of. But overall, I think with her, the less is more. She should go the Goldberg route. Get her in the matches, 2-3 minutes, squashing people, and just let her
Yep.
shine. Just let her shine. All right, so we're going to move right on to the next topic. But once again, great job for the ladies out there with the Women's Royal Rumble. I think it was by far the best. Now,
Oh,
awkwardly placed. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
So is this like Rumble? Is this in the ring or they just go out in the street? Because I see a women's Royal Rumble every day when
no.
I go to work. So was this
So
like a
yeah, it's the
professional
same
match?
as the men. They start off with 2, and then every so many seconds they put another one until there's
90 seconds, yeah.
90 seconds.
Sound
They
about
enter
right.
another wrestler and another wrestler until you have 30 wrestlers entered. And sometimes you'll have surprise. Sometimes I have a legend. This time the surprise was R-Truth sliding in the women's Royal Rumble, even though he's a man.
Yeah.
Uh, he was like, "Where all the men at?" They were like, "Get your dumb ass out of here!" But once again,
Wonderful.
no slander to R-Truth at all. All right, so next up, I hate to say the match for the most prized title in sports entertainment was a filler match, but the WWE, I think I added an extra W there.
Yeah.
I was like
You did.
Hey, oh, got a whole website.
www.e.com.
WWWB.
Only on the WB. That was some racist shit. Anyway, uh, the Fatal 4-Way, none other than LA Knight. Yeah. Roman
Yeah.
Reigns, acknowledge me. AJ Styles, the king of the soccer mom hair. And who was the fourth competitor?
Randy Orton.
Randy Orton. Randy Orton, that's right. Fatal 4-Way. What was your thoughts of the match, Big Gerald, overall?
So the since you brought up AJ, let's just say AJ Styles in 2024, that man still uses Alberta VO5 hot oil. You can't make me believe he don't. That man got the greatest soccer mom hair of all time.
Of all time.
It's great. And you say that to say this. Out of all that star power you just mentioned, the match just seemed kind of flat. It seemed like there was just too many people in it. Like I know WWE was like Roman just can't keep going up against one person. They're trying to save that for WrestleMania. But I think this would have been better as a maybe another just triple threat match to see who's gonna face him at the Elimination Chamber. Putting Roman in a match with all 3 of these gentlemen, you knew that there wasn't gonna be a definitive winner. Of course, with Solo Sokoa, put himself in the match and start spiking everybody. And the thing that took him out was he ran through the barricade on his own accord and never came back. That's that's a little weird. Of course, Roman wasn't going to lose to anybody in this because they have more money in play. I think the Indian just puts LA Knight in a storyline where his rise is pushed because he is on. When he comes into a match, he's white hot. The crowd cheers for him, but to put him in a match, and this is no disrespect to AJ Styles, no one wants to see that, you know. But that's clearly the road they're going to go down. The fact that he ran to the ropes and knocked AJ off the ropes. Randy Orton, even after being out 18 months, the back surgeries, we never thought he was going to wrestle again. He looked amazing, and the crowd really popped when it was him and Roman fighting each other. It almost made having LA Knight and AJ Styles, you know, like you said, filler in a match where it could have been Randy versus Roman, and it'd have probably been a better match. But all in all, it was okay. Roman retains, as we all knew he would. You said it best. They're going to send him after Hogan's record, which Hogan made an appearance last night as someone that talked in the Royal Rumble. He didn't wrestle, Cal. He didn't wrestle. I saw your face.
No, nor could he.
I heard the
No,
name
no,
Randy. I heard Randy Orton, and I'm hoping that it's his son. But go ahead.
I mean, it's Cowboy Bob Orton, so you're right. But we talking about that Randy Orton. Yes, that Randy
That's the
Orton.
one from 20 years ago. Yes, Kyle. But keep in mind, he started young, so he's only like our age. So
Yeah.
he's got a lot of
And
miles on him.
so, well, yeah, all in all, I think we expected more. This was not the best undisputed title match that we've seen, but for what it was, I guess it was okay.
Yeah. Um, I, I think at this point we know what a Roman Reigns match is going to be. He's somewhat limited in the ring. We know there's going to be some interference, some shenanigans. We know that he's going to win. Those are the three things that you notice. And he still ends up making compelling match because arguably, I mean, look at this dude, no homo, but the dude's got he's got star. He looks like a star. He looks like Conan the Barbarian or
This
Jason.
dude right here.
Yeah, he's your undisputed Universal Champ. This is The Rock's cousin, Kyle. This is the man that they're supposedly talking about having the dream matchup. But he's going to have the same thing. His match is going to be he takes. Now it was funny when they when they jumped him at the beginning of the match, and there's a
Why
man
you
going.
laughing?
You do look like a
Why
bum.
you
Look, go ahead.
Oh,
Did you say
Ah.
you say he look like a bum?
All right, go ahead, man. I just listen. I'm just an observer. I'm just outside.
Kyle's a pessimist. We're gonna make sure we send this to Paul Heyman. But yeah, I don't think we needed a match if it wasn't for Seth's injury. I think it would have been better off maybe having a fatal 4-way for the world title and then put in LA Knight in the Rumble. I would have liked to seen him have his Royal Rumble moment, AJ Styles, or maybe even a one-on-one Randy Orton versus Roman. That made the most sense story-wise. So I think they had a bit of a miscue there. Overall, I give the match a C. Nothing special, nothing knocked me out of the way, but nothing really horrible either. And obviously we
right.
knew who was going to win that particular match. So
What's the number?
Number what?
What's the number for him to get Hogan's record? Do we know what that number is?
Yeah, something like, I know they said he needs to hold on to it to SummerSlam. So July will breed the record. So we're here at February. We're knocking on February's door. He only wrestles, after the Royal Rumble, he probably won't wrestle again until SummerSlam. So I could see them letting him hold on to it there and then having Cody finish the story potentially. And then maybe having the battle, because The Rock versus Roman doesn't require the title to be up for grabs. It just requires Rock versus Roman. They've got enough star power to hold that down without a title. So next matchup, go right ahead.
I was gonna say, I hope they put Rock in a couple more matches before then, because when he was doing that mess against Jinder Mahal, you need to show that clip to Cal. He looked his age, but he is in great regular man physical shape. But as far as being in great wrestling shape, The Rock was winded. That brother was a
Yeah,
pebble. That man was straight and ring.
I'm gonna write some stuff down. 'Cause I got some questions about The Rock too. I got some personal issues, but I'll talk about that later.
He's got a lot of mass on him, and
Yeah,
that doesn't necessarily. I don't think Ross had too
translate.
many days working on his cardio. I think it's mostly just bulk and building. So, like I said, he looks like a movie star, but he moves like the
Drama Bull.
52, yeah, the 52-year-old man that he is. So the next match on the card, the U.S. title. What a weird place for this match, but the one and only Cow's boy, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens. So Logan Paul obviously won with shenanigans via disqualifications. What did you think of the match, Big Gerald?
So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to transfer over to Cal Jones' side real quick. Excuse me. That may have been the dumbest ending ever seen in sport. Anybody who's watched wrestling over the past 30 years knows that if you're gonna use the brass
Hold on,
knuckles,
Big Gerald. Hold on, Big Gerald. Let's ask Cal because he hasn't watched it in 30 years. Pose him that question to see what the answer would be.
Cal, if somebody slides you in a weapon in a match, you get disqualified. Once you once you use that weapon, what do you do with it?
You're supposed to have it, right? Like put it in
Thank
your
you.
drawers or whatever.
Yes, yes. The William Regal special. Hit him out that thing. Get the 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens, because so two wrestlers gave Logan Paul the brass knuckles. He was gonna use them on Kevin. Kevin stops it, puts the knuckles on, hits Logan Paul with the brass knuckles, and covers him. As the ref is counting, he still has the brass knuckles. Oh, and when the ref see he has on the brass knuckles, he gets disqualified, and Logan Paul retains the title. You are a veteran wrestler. What the hell is that? By, by far one of the worst endings I've ever seen in my life. You talked all this noise. First of all, the match was just okay. Let's start there. It was just okay. Logan Paul is too athletic for his own good. He has some great spots. Kevin Owens is clearly a wrestler of pure pedigree, but no one really cared about the match. Everybody was going to boo Logan Paul anyway. So you wanted it to feel more like a legit title match, like Logan Paul actually made you believe that he was worthy of the championship, and instead they didn't play to none of those strengths. And the story arc was used cheating in order for him to beat Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens being the reason he lose the match. You, a veteran wrestler, leave on brass knuckles, and when you cover him, the brass knuckles are showing in the referee's face. Like, what are you doing? It was stupid. And so he gets disqualified, and so he's angry that he gets disqualified. Logan Paul keeps the belt, and you power bomb him through a table. Why? You cost you the match.
Yeah. And he's literally the ref's like 1, 2, and he looks up at this man's knuckles and he's got big golden,
Like this.
and then he's like DQ, and this is literally Kevin Owens.
Still with the knuckles on.
With the knuckles.
Yes.
Which is especially harsh because his character is one of the few characters that realizes he's in a wrestling program. So he always calls out continuity issues or some of the silly things that go on in pro wrestling. So for him to get caught with that, I don't know who did that finish, but yeah.
It was a lame match. Shout out to Logan Paul. He doesn't wrestle every week. He has other things he promotes. Of course, he is, a social media superstar. But that man gets in a wrestling match, and for a little bit, you forget that he's only been doing this for almost a year. If that, It's amazing how his athleticism translates in the ring. He's literally one of the only people on the planet that can say, I can go in the wrestling ring and do whatever I want. And it legit happens. Is wild. It could have been a whole better match. If it had been a non-disqualification match, I think it would have took it over the top. They would have blew the roof off the place. But no, it was not great. It was probably a D. It wasn't a good match.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you 100% as far as the grade. A D, unnecessary match. I mean, you already have two. This was a WWE under Triple H's shepherdship has done really well with the pacing of their premium live events, being able to keep them at a reasonable time. This one was really long. We had the long because the show started at 7, just a pre-show, and we had an hour of pre-show of me watching Booker T do this for an hour. I'm like, dude, I know your braids are luxurious, but you hit them with the brandy. I want to be down every 2 minutes. And then at 8 o'clock, we start with an hour plus long Royal Rumble, only to get these filler matches in between. They really could have just did the 2 Royal Rumble matches and call it a day. And I think we would all been satisfied with that. But yeah, just a filler match, not required, not necessary, something to get a big name on the card and to keep kind of by putting him in this match, it protects Kevin Owens for, why didn't he win the Rumble? Because he wasn't in it. So overall, D, filler match. I'm fine with the finish. I'm fine with who won. Horrible with the finish. Once again, if this was any wrestler, fine. But Kevin Owens, no. I would have liked this to been like an R-Truth versus Logan Paul match for some reason.
Yeah.
He would be dumb enough to leave the, knuckles on and be like, what? I don't understand. Oh, yeah, I get it. But that's it. Let's get to the main event. The men's Royal Rumble. The men's Royal Rumble. What we all came here to see, to shape WrestleMania. What did you think of the match, and did the right person win?
I feel like with the landscape and how they had to change a lot of things, Cody winning made a lot of sense. I will say that they could have switched the men's Royal Rumble match with the women's Royal Rumble match, and the women's would have been a better main event match. But that's just my opinion. This Royal Rumble was decent, but let's talk about it. The biggest surprise of the match was Andrade coming back. He came back from AEW to enter in at number 4. The Usos started out at 1 and 2, two brothers fighting, and then Grayson Waller, who by far is one of the most annoying people. And then once you get from Andrade, and this is no slight and no offense to any male wrestler, it was like a mid card match from 5 to 15 was full of mid carders. Normally when we look at old Royal Rumbles, you get a Andre the Giant, you get a Hulk Hogan, a Goldberg. There was no huge superstars who came out into this match, to be honest, until Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes came in at 15. Gunther, who is one of the best technical wrestlers on the planet, came in at 17 or 18. And that was pretty much it. No one else in this match made you believe, okay, they're going to go the distance. You didn't believe Jey Uso was going to go from 1 to 30 and win it. Andrade coming back, you didn't foresee him winning it. Everybody else, Santos Escobar, like none of those guys made you believe that they were going to win the Royal Rumble until Cody Rhodes got in at 15, and he won it from the number 15 spot. CM Punk came in at 27. The final 4 was Gunther, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre. But you kind of seen CM Punk putting Drew over the ropes after their exchange. Gunther, as amazing as he is, he has the IC title, so I didn't foresee him staying in the match because he could still challenge Seth Rollins without really winning the Royal Rumble, and he's already made those feelings known that that's the belt he was going to go after. So I can't wait to see that match. So it broke down to CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes. After their promo, you kind of seen that was the way it was going. And just like last year, they let Cody shine in the ring with another opponent for a long period of time. So that there was 8 minutes. It was just him and CM Punk, and they had a stellar match. CM Punk hitting the pedigree on Cody. That was, that was a slight. When you think about the way he left the WWE and came back, and how Triple H fought for Cody to come back and to use his move on Cody. We finna get pipe bomb CM Punk. Everybody's good for a heel turn CM Punk. I think that's gonna be great. But Cody winning the match, him being on the cover of the game, Seth Rollins and Roman being, in attendance and pointing at Roman means that he's gonna continue this whole finish the story arc. And just like you said, I don't think the story is gonna end this year. We're gonna have a whole another year of finish the story. But how many more of these can we get till this gets stale too? All in all, I'll give the whole Royal Rumble for the men a B plus, and that's why I'll leave it at. That is a great match. Of course, can't leave it without saying R-Truth, comedic gold. Even in the men's match, get thrown out by Damian Priest. Another thing, none of the people in the Judgment Day, you were worried about them winning the match either. It's kind of sad because they're one of the hottest groups in the WWE. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. The right man won. I think they may have made a little swapsy after the injury, and I think that is the reason why they had that promo that Alvin hated between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. I think with the injury, if Seth was 100% healthy and we knew for a fact that he'll be able to go by the time WrestleMania, I think CM Punk would have won to set that up, and we end up with an Elimination Chamber. But with the injury, this gives them a little bit more time to see what's going on that side. Do they need to put the title up in an Elimination Chamber and figure out something else? They definitely planted enough seeds. But I think you're right. I think it would have benefited for having that match go on first and having the women's match go on last. With the pops you got in the women's match, it's more that you expect for a Royal Rumble. I definitely got to highlight some Braun Breaker clearly coming in, taking the Brock spot with the
That's
controversy,
exactly what that was. Yep.
which we're going to get into shortly. So, he looked great. He shined. He looked like a star. I would have liked to see some throwbacks. We couldn't have got Booker T out there for, a minute to come in. I think they wasted a spot with Pat McAfee. For him to come out and do the coward spot didn't make much sense to me. But this is what we had to do with. That would have made more sense for maybe Ron Truth. I did like the hot tag moment with Dominic and R-Truth. That was pretty cool. But just it left me with a little bit something, and it puts Cody in rare air. The only other superstars to actually be two-time back-to-back Royal Rumble winners are Stone Cold, HBK, and missing a guy.
Oh, don't do that, because I gotta
We'll
remember.
we'll
I
we'll
don't.
look it up. But he's in rare air. There's only been 4 men to do that. So congratulations
And
to Cody.
he's the first one to do it in 26 years.
26 years. So shout out to Cody, the plumbers, the grandson of a plumber, I guess. Going to hopefully finish his story, but I don't think he is. But I hurried those segments up so we can get into the meat.
Nah.
Go
Y'all not gonna
ahead,
get away
Cal.
with that.
Go ahead, Cal.
So first thing, I'm hoping I didn't hurt Booker T. I'm gonna just let that go past.
Let me let
So
me let me. So hang on before you said it. He only said that because in last year's Royal Rumble, Booker T was in the match. Like I told you before, he did the spinner Rooney. It was the slowest spinning Rooney of his career. He looks really good for his age, but sometimes it's time to call it a career. It's just time to stop. That's what he
True.
said.
And that he wrestled last year did not help your point. You made my
But
point
I'm
even
that's
more.
what-
All right, so I get what y'all saying. I'm not knocking it. I'm gonna try to get into it more. So this is the issue that I personally see with WWE. You're not bringing anybody else up. I don't know the icons. Like I'm writing down the list, and I think the thing that made like Royal Rumble good back in the days, Undertaker, like you said, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Bret Hart. You had all those people. You don't know who gonna win. it's like just listening now when these people go in, it's like who the 3 or 4 people that you expect to win, that's in there. You didn't know that back in the days. It could have been Rikishi, it could have been Kane, it could have been the Big Show. I personally think they don't do enough to push their big stars. Who's the icon? It should be more icons now because you got social media. People got millions and millions of followers. Where's the figures that everybody, used to have wrestling figures back in the days? Where is that at? Now they got games out. And I think the WWE is doing a disservice not pushing them because I think they selfishly just want to push their organization. The same thing like with UFC, they want to show that the organization is bigger than the wrestler because The Rock became kind of bigger than WWE. Not, like financially, but he outgrew it. John Cena outgrew it. And I think they personally prevent people from doing it now because they don't want them to venture off and be able to do what they want to do. And then I'll just come back part-time or when I'm promoting a movie or something like that. Y'all see anything with that?
No, it's so funny
No,
that you say that because John Cena said the exact same thing. He said, you will never see where they put a star above the brand again, because there was a time where Stone Cold could hold them hostage. There was a time when The Rock could hold them hostage. There was a time when the Ultimate Warrior literally held them hostage, where Hulk Hogan could hold them hostage and make, certain demands. I think they learn from that. And while you have stars, I don't think you're going to see somebody like John Cena that crosses where everybody knows. You could just say the Macho Man right now, and a 7-year-old woman will be like, oh, the Slim Jim guy, I know who that is. The stars were bigger than life. And like I said, bigger than the company. I don't think that's the TKO Holdings way. The brand is the star. WWE is the machine. UFC is the machine. And we make the stars and you cheer for who we say. So it's not too many that are at that level anymore. But I think overall the roster is deeper than it was back then. Because yes, you named some stars, but there were some bums on that roster that if we start going back in, there was plenty of gobbledygookers for every Hulk Hogan.
No, like I said, I'm not into it. I don't know. I think personally it was, I wouldn't say deeper. It was, I guess, more interesting. It felt like you kind of knew them, like you knew Undertaker's life, you knew Kane's story, you knew the Big Show story. I don't hear that anymore.
but you bring up a valid point. And one of the biggest culprits on why it had to change was social media. You say social media should be the reason why we have another megastar. Social media made it to where a product like WWE can't put a Stone Cold in front of us and demand for the audience to cheer, because now with social media, if the guy that you like on social media ain't the favorite for the company, we're going to cheer for him and boo who you put in front of us. Roman Reigns is the perfect example. There was for years where WWE was like, he's the next big thing, cheer for Roman Reigns. And every time he brought his ass out there, they booed him down. It wasn't until he got sick and then had to leave for a while he came back, his persona changed, and then he naturally progressed into the superstar you have now. But social media will say, we like LA Knight more than anybody you put out there. So whoever you put in a match with LA Knight, we're gonna cheer him. Even if you want us to cheer CM Punk, it's LA Knight, because social media has made it to where the WWE can't choose who I want to cheer for anymore. We have that power. And if, like you said, if the organization isn't behind it, you get what you get with LA Knight now, a mega superstar that's over with the crowd, and it just quite hasn't translated to the organization. So yeah, like you said, there'll never be another Stone Cold or Rock, something like that, because with social media coming out, anything that they would have said out the way, if we'd have known about it, naturally, everybody bandwagons. And that's not talking bad about the people that cheer for the product. It's human nature. One thing, like you said, a tweet from 20 years ago will cancel your whole career if you ain't careful.
But if they know who the audience want, wouldn't it make sense? It's like they purposely don't do it because it's going to make that person bigger than the company. So let's push the other guy that y'all don't like. I don't like that, but I think it'd
that's the
be
point.
easier.
Yeah, it would, but they're like, and I'll use an example. It didn't happen to him, but Seth Rollins is one of the ones that the crowd wasn't behind at first. Martin, he had to become Seth freaking Rollins. He had to be who the people would cheer for in order for him to gain that wattage. Because before that, he was booed not because he hit Roman Reigns. Everybody was happy when he hit Roman with the chair, but when he hit John Moxley, well, he was somebody another name in WWE. Once he hit him, that was a crowd favorite. They booed the life out of him. Even when they put the belt on him, they still booed him. It's weird now, like you said, and I can see how you come back in and like, but the crowd loves this dude. Why he ain't in the main event fighting for the big title? It's weird because, like you said, if they become bigger than a product, then you run the risk of losing them. And Hollywood is different now. When The Rock first started doing movies, y'all remember when he did Scorpion King? There were no clause in the contract to say, "Oh, you can't go back to wrestling in a match." But now, if Fast 10 Part Two's coming out. Oh man, it's great that you say you want to be the head of the table. Don't go get hurt, or you're gonna lose out on this. So it's so many different nuances, but I can see how someone who hasn't watched the product in a long time be like, that don't make any sense.
Appreciate y'all filling me in.
No, but you definitely observe it, man, because that is exactly what has really gone on. So we're about to get into the main event of today's episode, but first, a word from our sponsor. So, guys, we are building a legacy here, and we need your support. Everything you do, from a like, for a comment, from a share, helps this team give you guys the content. And you know what? We love you so much. We are bringing you guys a very, very special sale. You see this dope ass shirt right here? You see this dope ass mug right here? This cool shirt that I had on, and this, and this, and this, and more, and more, and more. We have so much awesome merch on the show. We have a new line coming on after February 14th. So all of this old stuff, it must go. So what we've done here over at Mars Media, we have discount codes, and I've got two special discount codes for you guys from my brothers. This is how generous they are. They are giving you 15% off on merchandise by using any of these codes. Yes, it says Condis there, but I did it at the last damn minute. I saw Alvin's face.
I was ready. Big Joe won't understand why I was ready for it. Because they got me yesterday. I said LeBron James.
Oh my God. I almost spit up. Yes, but support, get yourself 15% off on some of this merch with either in all caps Cal Jones or Dub Deuce. My brothers are giving y'all 15% off, and every code that you use will help support the network and what we're doing here. Good morning, Josh Kennyard. What's up, brother? Good morning to you, or afternoon, wherever wherever you're located. We appreciate y'all tuning in to the Two Horseman Podcast. And you can get that merch right here. All you have to do is copy this link, put it right in your search bar, and you will see some of that dope merchandise. So now that we've paid some bills, let's get into the main event of this chat. And this is why we brought Cal Jones, because I know he is going to bring the spice. Vinnie Mac is not coming back. They finally put the stake on this vampire. They finally ended the reign of the one and only Vinnie Mac. So what I have for you guys, and it's early in the day, so I'm going to tell you guys, if you're a wrestling fan under the age of 18, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to turn off this podcast. Make sure you hit like before you do it, and go have some milk and cookies, and maybe come back. If you're over 18, I want you to scoot up your chair up to your screen or put your phone, because we are about to go into the after dark portion of this episode, and that's why we have Cal Jones. For those who don't know Vince McMahon. Big Gerald, fill up on a little bit in on who Vince McMahon is and his importance to the WWE legacy.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon is the son of the McMahons that started the WWE. Vince took the WWE when it was the World Wrestling Federation and made the product of wrestling what it is today. He brought you the big superstars. He started the promos that put them over the top. Wrestling is what it is right now because of this man. He laid down the foundation, the blueprint, in order to make wrestling the multi-billion-dollar business it is right now. He is the brainchild of some of the biggest matches you've ever seen. WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, um, the tables, ladders, and chairs match that he graciously took those wild matches from ECW. Thank you, Paul Heyman, by the way, and then took the products of those individuals and said, "Oh, did I take your product? Let me give you a job with the WWE, so you have a paycheck forever." He's also the father-in-law to one of the greatest wrestlers to ever do it. Nepotism at its finest, as he taught his kids the business and kept it, as they say, in the family, making it rich. Um, Recently, spearheaded the sale of this company to TKO, making it more profitable than it's ever been, and essentially laying the foundation for his own demise because a lot of the darkness in wrestling culture is because of him. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But that's Vince McMahon in a nutshell. The chairman, the CEO, the man with the grapefruits, with one of the best entrance walks in all of wrestling.
And maybe one of the best on-screen personas in all of wrestling, the Mr. McMahon character. A lot of us of a certain age remember we didn't know Vince owned the company. We just knew he was the commentator that always said, "What a maneuver! What a maneuver! What a maneuver!" Everything was "what a maneuver." And then it wasn't until the Stone Cold era where they kind of pulled the curtain behind, and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute, this guy owns the whole company." And then as we get older and we start to look at some of the stories, let me tell you, you think Harvey Weinstein has a story. You think R. Kelly or Bill Cosby has a story. Cal Jones said it earlier. When the Surviving Vince McMahon story comes out, I think we're all going to be sitting here. And it's something about Vince that he's really been a Teflon Don for like 40 years, from accusations of sexual assault to racism to steroids to you name it. He's been able to slide without any type of serious consequences, but there's a saying the truth always comes to a light. So this story kind of started when we get this tweet right here. A spokesperson for TKA Group Holdings has said in a statement, Mr. McMahon does not control TKA, nor does he oversee the day-to-day operations of WWE. While this matter predates our TKO executive team's tenure at the company, we take Ms. Grant's horrific allegations very seriously on addressing them internally, which then led to these charges coming forward. In July 21st, a suit was filed saying Vince McMahon instructed Grant, who was a former employee of the WWE, to create personalized sexual content for a WWE superstar that was trying to re-sign. The suit didn't name the professional wrestler, but described him as both a UFC superstar. I wonder who could that be? Ronda Rousey, maybe. And this is the young lady. This is the young lady who ended the evil empire, who took down.
Come on, man. I can't do this today.
Who took down Vinnie Mac, the man who thought would never see a loss. And it gets yummier, ladies and gentlemen. There were some tweets that came through. So here's some of the, and I wish I could make it larger, but this is some of the actual suit. And here are some of these tweets that I can't see. Let's see if I can make this larger.
Nope.
Failure. Can I make this bigger? No, can't make it bigger. But they're really erotic. So what I'm gonna do I'm gonna read some. I happen to have them on my phone since I couldn't make them any bigger, and it's probably a good thing that I couldn't make them bigger because they were graphic. So let me get my reading voice. All right, so this is around the time McMahon openly shared explicit photographs and salacious stories about Miss Grant with WWE crew, the whole crew, at a TV taping. A group of men referred to her as her fan club. Oh, my man, Chris from the Dumb Marks podcast. Shout out. Something I keep going back and forth on. Would love to hear what you guys think. Are you happy with Vince being let go and move on, or does Tico need to let go of everyone involved? Great question. Let's stop and answer that question before we get into it. What do you think, Big Gerald? Do you think, are you happy that Vince is gone, or should everybody, the whole Triple H, Bruce Pritchard, everybody that was involved in the company, do they need a clean slate?
I think to save face, TKO needs to continue to follow the evidence. Of course, there's some things that no nonsense. We know that that person was involved, and if it was shown that it was as malicious as him, absolutely. Of course, Vince McMahon said it himself. He didn't do a lot of things without John Laurinaitis or Bruce Pritchard. So of course, that's always a horrible thing to hear out loud. Um, for as far as Triple H goes, I didn't hear a lot of what he was involved in with it. If he was involved with it in any way, shape, or form, it's sad. But you have to scorch earth and start fresh, because that's like saying they were complicit in knowing what was happening to her, and because they were afraid of him, or they really didn't care, they continued to allow it. They shouldn't get to stay if he takes a fall. Ultimately, what he did to this lady was very egregious, and I'm glad that she finally felt strong enough to come out and say it. We as wrestling fans knew for a long time who Vinnie Mac was. It was no secret. This is the same man who used to have the bra and panties matches. The same thing we used to say about R. Kelly. The evidence has always been right there. It just takes one person to come out front. So no, if they were as complicit or contrite in helping him in any way, shape, or form, they should be let go as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna disagree with Big Gerald. Um, the main three culprits, or the main two culprits, seem to be John Laurinaitis and Vince. They seem like they were the heads of the scandal, and John Laurinaitis is gone. Um,
Okay.
Vince is gone. As far as Triple H, and once again, I'm with you. Innocent till proven guilty. Vince has denied the allegations. This is not in any way saying that he is guilty. But the people that participated in their activities, yeah, absolutely. You got to let them go. So if evidence points that Triple H was participating in any way, but as far as the complicit thing goes, I don't think Triple H is in a position to tell Vince McMahon what to do, or anybody was in position to tell Vince McMahon what to do. He bullied his way back into the company. People forget this is not the first time he's resigned. He resigned almost a year prior when the allegations first came up, and he bullied his way right back into the company. He had the controlling stock interests. He had the control of the board. He had everything in his favor. It's finally caught up with him because now that the sale is complete, he doesn't have the stroke that he used to. But if they were complicit, then absolutely, as far as like being involved. But if they just knew about it, we knew about Trump doing some things, not to get political, but what can you do? You don't have so much power. So, and I'm saying that just because I'm a Triple H fan. And then we have another question from Josh. Cal, read that for me because your boy's eyes are struggling.
Says, so thoughts on Vince's new look. Knew his legacy was going to take a hard hit, so he created an image people will associate with his downfall, thus prior image more likely to be less tarnished.
Ooh, Machiavellian. I think what he's talking about is Vince's slick back dyed hair and evil supervillain twirly mustache that he grew out of nowhere. Uh,
Mhm.
he's a bright man, so that's a great question. I don't know. I think he just let his inner creep shine, and with his inner creep, out comes the creepy mustache. I don't know.
All right, so maybe. Oh yeah, he was right. That's yep.
General satanic appearance.
Yeah, and I wouldn't disagree.
All right. Well, here's the part of the show we get canceled. So I got a couple of questions. So I've been following some, but I'm not an avid fan like y'all are. So what was it that he did that was illegal, or that was like that can put him in jail?
So that's why this is civil. These aren't criminal charges. What he did that was technically morally wrong is that he was in a position of power. So we all know the sexual harassment things. When you're in a position of power, you're not supposed to do the whole quid pro quo. You exchange sexual favors, and in exchange, you get a certain position in the company. So that's what he did that can get him removed from the company. When you have a publicly traded company such as WWE and TK Holdings, we saw how quick Slim Jim was like, "Ooh, yeah, let's go ahead and take that ad." And the moment Vince quit, they went and went back through with it. So that's what he did. That was morally corrupt. They're saying accusations of sex trafficking and things of that nature. But once again, just like Diddy, you notice these aren't criminal charges. These are all more
That's
things
civil.
of a civil. I don't feel Miss Grant, as she went by, is the innocent victim that a lot of people want to say when you read these texts, and I'm not going to read them, but maybe I'll put a link, or maybe I might read some of them. Um, she was definitely complicit. She was essentially paid for her services, and she got mad because the final payments didn't come in, and now she's ready to breach the NDA. So I don't think he did anything illegal. I think he did a lot that was morally reprehensible, and then as far as a in a place of business, absolutely something that shouldn't be tolerated. But I wouldn't say he did anything illegal.
Because if we go on the moral route, would we be teetering like on a thin line? Just to me personally, I know how I always feel about this moral stuff, where morals can be what I think is something that you should do, and not necessarily something that's wrong. I like to deal with the right or wrong. If is it criminally wrong or is it not? Because if you go on morals, I know it came out publicly, but you can start digging into some people's lives. And if you just peel something, you just better be consistent with that. So if Slim Jim is going to go at Vince or whatever, or was going to, or is he losing sponsors because he did something morally, you better be consistent with it when every time somebody else do it. Like, I don't want to hear context. I don't want to hear, well, we did it to Vince, but we didn't do it to this other person because, you start explaining yourself away. If you do it for one, you do it for everybody. I mean, how old was the girl underage? How old is she?
No, she's in her mid-30s, I believe.
So I guess she don't have the option to say this is something that's not comfortable for me. So I don't want to do it.
No, I
Well,
agree with you. As
she,
Cat Williams said,
yeah,
Diddy is going to ask you to party, and you have to tell him no.
Uh,
right. And she said no, according to what has been put out. When she said no, he controlled her job and all that stuff. And so it was like she was in the damn if she do, damn if she don't. Are you aware on Twitter people are posting tweets that the lady who initiated the lawsuit on Vince has false memory syndrome as well? Oh,
oh,
I don't think none
let
of
me
us
look
knew
that
that.
up. We may have to
Can
do
we
an
take a
episode
moment of
too.
silence for what the hell is false memory? You mean lying?
Oh, I think
Because
I think
false.
that's a good one. You may see me steal that. I
Uh,
give you credit for
I'm sorry, I have false memory syndrome,
it.
Your Honor.
Ooh,
yikes. Okay. All right.
Josh had a statement too. Sean, I don't know if you can see it, Mars.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Uh,
Corporate workplace behavior and culture. Documentation of sexual transactions between multiple workplace partners. It would appear she became reliant on him emotionally and in livelihood.
ooh, that's tough.
Is that a charge? Is
And
that
it was
is that
Possibly she was participating in a role of where she had a position in a domination relationship, but the documentation clearly illustrates improper workplace behavior. And so I believe that is what's going to ultimately get him is improper workplace behavior. I know in some of the allegations they were saying that when he would go different spots and he would meet with certain people, like he would hit her up and make her go have sex with them, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was the
That's it.
trafficking element because obviously WWE
Right.
travels on the road, and I'm just gonna read one of these graphic texts, and then we're gonna get into it. Lord, forgive me before I begin if I start smoking. All right, I'm gonna do it in my Vince McMahon voice because you got to do it in the Vince McMahon.
Oh
So this
God,
says,
help us.
following the threesome on May 11th, 2020, McMahon sent an explicit message to Miss Grant that further detailed his fantasy of seeing her engage in sexual relations. I love it. That's you, Janelle. You just can't get enough, can you? In the future, it's going to be so bad that you demand to be effed twice a day and not just with blank in a three-way. Why not let others see that beautiful, voluptuous body and watch you shake uncontrollably when you blank? They'll go out of their minds. Then I'll find more friends and we'll tie you up so you're helpless. I'll direct them to have their way any way that you want. Who can make you scream the loudest? Maybe I'll just line them up and have them blank in your mouth. Your blank all over your blank and blank all in the same time. You'll be covered in blank and we'll make you eat it all and taste everybody's blank. The next morning you'll be a little sore, but still going to want more. And after all that, there'll be no chance in hell. No, I made up the last part. But,
So,
all right, that's
man,
illegal. Like, it's
yeah,
illegal.
yeah.
It should be.
So, all right, okay, let's get back. And the Emmy goes to Jesus. So we got to put a disclaimer up, because boy, you sounded just like Vince.
it got hot in there when I read it.
The defense protect people who were accused of rape or molesting children. There was even a group dedicated to it. Oh, okay.
I'm looking this up for real.
So, man, sounds like dumb role play fantasy fiction, but the mistake is trusting someone enough to document that in a text.
Yes.
You can't
I
text
can't believe you did
everybody.
that.
There's some things that should be untextable. That needs to be
And
said face to face.
Yeah.
at his age, him texting that, he didn't see no problem with it.
A
Anybody our
bird
age would
phone
be
or
like,
something.
yeah, but man, I'm gonna tell you. First of all, we need to put a disclaimer up. Mars made that a little too creepy with the Benjamin Man voice. I,
All right.
I was, I was stirred
Yeah. Don't do that
thoroughly.
again, Mo. It was good, but something
Se-
else, like a promo. But
Yeah. Secondly, man, we let man. This is we know that these are serious accusations, and in no way, shape, or form are we picking on neither him nor her when it comes to these allegations. Everybody has to have their day in court. We fervently believe that. I agree with Cal. Uh, in the day and age we live in, you just can't take everything at face value. You got to let it play out. I think that you know wrestling has been ran like an old boys club since its inception. It has continued, which is why we get some of the worst women's matches of all time. I get it. We got these places that are saying that they're progressive, but even like AEW has some great women's talent. Tony Storm, man, the best persona in women's wrestling going on right now, and it still gets no shine. What did it say? I would recommend a book on the subject written by Lynn Kropp, the former president of the International Society for the Study of Trauma Dissociation. Oh man, they out here feeding us knowledge, man. We appreciate all of this. But
I'm
you
looking this
know,
book.
getting the fish. The book is called False
Mm.
Memories, the depiction that silence.
We may have to do an episode on this. You know how I feel about these cases. So
Right. This might be a
Yes.
Cal Court special.
all right. Silence millions.
Please
Write that
continue.
down.
We're sorry for the pausing,
My
guys,
bad.
but it's so much I want to make sure your comments get shown. So please continue, Big Jerry.
Right. I think this being what the forefront it is. You know, unfortunately, the allegations that are coming from this is one of the only other wrestling organizations that actually is starting to put women's wrestling at its forefront or giving it the shine that it deserves. And it seems like every time there's a good thing, there's always something bad. I believe him stepping down was the right move. Like you said, he's not coming back. There's, I mean, like you say, no chance in hell that happens.
You're fired, Vince. Sorry, I had to get one more Vince
That's just,
impression off.
it's just bad for business. Oh God, that voice.
I have one more text I would read here. Around this time, McMahon openly shared explicit photos and salacious story with her fan club. I just passed my phone around to a bunch of guys on the tech crew. They were screaming, "Oh my God, she's effing beautiful. Look at that ass. I'd like to get that." I paused to count how many guys there were. 12. I said, "Okay, there's 12 of you, and she would like to F each and every one of you one at a time." The guys cheered, but she will only do it if she takes 3 at a time. That brought out a huge reaction. She wants one deep in her blank, one down her blank, and one in her blank. And you can pound her and keep on pounding her till you pop your load. She may scream and try to say no, although it would be difficult to say anything with a blank down her throat. They laughed. And then I said, "Listen, no matter what, just pound away." Baby, these guys were having a blast with me. Some of them didn't believe me, so I said, "You are the greatest F in the world. And no matter how much you get, you always want it more." And then I said, "She loves it. Baby, these techs, as we call them, these are the techs." He's like talking to the IT department. Can you imagine the CEO of your company coming down to you and saying, "Hey, Cal, before you go on that run, check this out. This is salacious."
So essentially, listen.
Let me look that up.
Essentially, Vince out here just letting people watch him have sex.
I mean, not only watching, I mean, he sounds like he's, coaching out scenes and hiring people. I can't imagine just being like a janitor there and Vince tapping you on your shoulder like, "What are you doing Sunday at 3?" Like, spending time with my family? No, you're not. You're number 13 in the Royal Rumble.
So I got a question. All this is, I guess, nasty. But it gotta be, I guess it's people out there that do this stuff, right? So
yeah, these two.
Yeah. And I guess the people that he showed the messages to. So I guess I'm having trouble trying to figure out, even though I'm not in agreement with it, I wouldn't do anything like that. I guess obviously she was doing it. So I'm trying to figure out what he did wrong, because I guess it's his. I know she was an employee, but I guess it's his personal work life. I mean, I guess his personal sex life.
I don't know. 12 people is not personal. That's a whole NBA team at that point.
I mean, that's true. But you got movies out there where
this could be role play.
That's true too. I think I'm agreeing with Josh. I mean, it could have been something. She could have been like, "Send me some stuff." I'm not excusing what he did, but we don't know what the context of the text. Are there videos of her actually with the 12 dudes? So some people
I'll do my research to find out. Just for the show. Just for,
he's like, "I got that clip coming up right there."
Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Hey, Mars reenact Vince in that room with the 11 other guys.
All right, guys. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
this is a hard one for me, man. I mean, I get it, but to have to walk away from a company,
That
that's
you
the problem I
started.
get.
So I think the biggest thing that started this thing is when his wife found out about it, and as soon as his wife found out about it, that young lady was fired immediately. And so
Oh,
once she got fired, she would, according to the story, and these are the allegations, she was made to sign an NDA where she couldn't say anything. And according to the NDA, she was gonna get so much money from him. And once she only got a third of the money she was supposed to receive, that's when the civil suit came.
so did she do any of it? I mean, so she got fired for not doing it.
No, she got
No.
fired because the relationship got found out by his wife.
So she may have did this stuff then.
Oh no, she
Right.
definitely did it. She's
Oh,
admitted.
I'm not doing this, man. Oh, this could be a long con.
This
And
could be a
Tony
long
Khan could be the
con, and
nobody
Tony
got it.
Oh,
Khan could be the nobody got to know man behind the curtain. Are you
Ooh,
referring to Tony Khan or Nick Khan? Just
nah,
confirm.
he he talking about Tony. He thinking that
I didn't look at
this
that.
was
I
a
ain't think
try
about
to
that.
stumble the organization, another organization to rise. Even even if that is true, Tony just shot himself in the foot. Vince's stuff is, God forgive me for saying this. The stuff with Vince McMahon is more creative than anything going on in AEW right now. Just keeping it above. It's awesome.
Thanks, Alex, for the info. We might have to
She's
refer you over to our homegirl Nikki New. She does a ghetto reading rainbow section. Some of these books might be interesting.
Yeah, I'm about to. I hope
successfully
Alice
too.
come back
Okay,
over because I'm
great.
gonna have some more information about this next week. So I'd love to switch information to see what he think.
So
Okay.
I have I have another text that I'm going to read in the stylings of Vince McMahon because they
Oh
just
God.
get yummier and yummier. After the
Oh
threesomes
no.
began, McMahon became more sadistic in his fantasies, focused on control, such as choking, sensory deprivation, pain, humiliation, and group scenarios in which Miss Grant was to be physically overwhelmed and subservient. Regarding your last pictures, you need your panties ripped off in three big black blank in all three holes at the same time. Way up your blank and way up your blank as far as they will go, but even further. And the thickest blank goes down your blank so it makes you gag and convulse as those big black blanks pound away. It feels like from the start you're being assaulted, but it made you blank nonstop. Just one continuous, constant orgasm. And just before you pass out, those big black blank squirt there blank inside you as you lay on your stomach. The blank coming out of all of your blank. I'll turn you over and blank all over you. I can't.
I wanna. Oh God. So
I feel dirty. I'm gonna go take a shower. I'll be back.
so
Like
so
50
here's
Shades
the
of
twist.
Grey or something.
No, this 50 Shades darker right here. Uh
There was
no,
at
oh
least
buddy.
three shades of black in that text, apparently.
So even if this is the case, and this is coming from the mind of this old man, the depravity alone is like Jackson said, it almost sounds kayfabe.
Yeah.
It almost sounds this was like Vince Man the persona and not the person. Like when we go back and we look at this, because when all this comes bare, he also said that he's ready to fight this in court to prove his innocence. Now we've also seen this backfire in many other civil suits for certain individuals. But when it comes to what this just got on okay. When it
This is a
comes down
recap.
to it, man, how like if this is true, he treated a human being like this. It's crazy how much power you could get. It's like I said, if it's true,
Whoa,
because
whoa.
again, we just heard this is kayfabe. If this is true, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I think he treated a human being that was in the same thing that he was into a certain type of way,
Oh,
but she had an advantage because he was in a
absolutely.
position. He was in a position of power, so she knew. Oh, I just can't see nobody wanting money or a position that bad that they're gonna take on 12 black dudes to move up in a
That's
position.
racist. Why does it gotta be?
I mean,
Right. You didn't have to prep.
You could have just said 12 dudes.
I mean, but
Make
12
it
black dudes
black.
kind of like it kind of sensationalizes the story. But you gonna take on 12 dudes.
It don't need to be sensationalized. Look at
She
this
don't seem that
woman. That's
big.
that.
Uh,
Oh God.
like,
Oh God.
she kind of small. You taking on 12 dudes. I think just think about it. You're in a position where you're into something, and also the other person is in power, and you got them by the you know what because they sitting it in text.
The grapefruits.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think Vince obviously trusted her a little too much, which for a businessman with such a reputation of king ruthlessness and intelligence, it seems real sloppy. This type of move. Maybe he thought the NDAs would protect him. Maybe he thought the settlement would protect him. But obviously it didn't. Josh says technically there are human beings who enjoy being treated like this in theory. The problem is you can't put them on the payroll or associate them with the company. That's when court's in.
He's right.
And you're 100% right. If he was just doing this in his private yard with private life with a consenting adult,
We ain't
get
having
your
this
freedom.
conversation.
We're not having a conversation. In fact, I'm standing for his workers' rights because at the end of the day, I'm all about the workers' rights, even though he's, clearly not a worker. He's the big boss. But once you put them on payroll, also in the part where the legality may come into, he was using some of the company's funds to pay for some of these
Oh,
extravagant gifts that she received, which I'm trying to find a list of some of these gifts. But go ahead, Big Gerald, while I try to find the list.
Oh no, I ain't had nothing else.
so they're gonna pretty much get them on technicalities with this thing. They're gonna I get it because if we're talking workplace harassment and everything, I get that, but you're not gonna tell me that we're not so far in the time now that nobody knows this is acceptable and this is not acceptable. It's not like the 50s or 60s where the women had to put up with stuff, that they kind of didn't know about because men had that much power. Like, what's right. What I'm saying? You know what's wrong. Like, if Vince said something like that to you, that you didn't have to put up with that. But that's just my opinion. It's a lot of people that go along with stuff when it's benefiting them at the time, and when it don't benefit, they come to look for that check. And Vince didn't pay up, so that's him not paying that. What was it, $3 million he was supposed to pay?
Yeah, he paid $1 million
Mhm.
of the 3, and when she didn't get that other 2 payments, this is when. But so here's a list of some of the gifts that Vince gave Miss Grant. They include. Here we go. Um, clubhouse assets to clubhouse access to the Belmont Stakes. I think that's a really fancy
Or the horse race?
country horse racing country club. Cosmetic procedures, so you probably got her some, put some D's on it. WrestleMania private full day transportation and premium tickets. A $2,000 Nordstrom gift card, which is not a lot at Nordstrom's actually. Of massive box. You sold yourself short, honey. Just looking at some of these gifts, but a massive box of Godiva, $20,000 towards another surgery, a pearl diamond pave. We're speaking rich here, so if I mispronounce something, excuse me. Pave lariat necklace from Betteridge in Greenwich, Connecticut, cashmere cardigan, cashmere blue Burberry scarf, a lot of cashmere going on. A 2022 BMW 430 XI, $5,000 gift certificate. She was just it sounds like the biggest problem is that her profession was the title on a profession, because clearly this seems like an escort service.
Dang, he been doing this since the 80s?
Since the 80s, and they just catching them
Oh,
now.
Well, the thing is, there wasn't no social media in the 80s and 90s, and
That
in the
part.
early 2000s, only 10% of households even had the internet. So you pretty much get away with anything when you got that kind of money. Because that, I guarantee that rug that America sit on is well swept secrets under there.
So
Yes, sir.
I'm with Josh and y'all with the them being an employee thing. I guess I can't skate around that. Did she accepted these gifts?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
She
this is
asked for 'em.
so she's not looking for sympathy. She's just looking to out him. She's just looking to air him out.
She's looking for the rest of her payout.
Yeah,
She was
yes,
promised 3 meals and
this
she
like that
got 1 meal.
cash. Because like I said, this suit don't come up if that money comes. We don't hear about this if the money comes. Can you quit playing Hearts father for Calgary, Stampede territory, and similar with some LA territory or Booker? Huh.
I mean, this sound,
You
and
gotta
I've
look at
heard some stories, including like cover ups. We all hear if you've seen Dark Side of the Ring, we've all heard about the Jimmy Snuka, where he apparently covered up a murder. Like Vince is a real life gangster, allegedly. Allegedly, I want to protect the brand. Allegedly covered up a murder, but this is not anything that's
Nope.
shocking, because when you look at the history of pro wrestling, it starts with the Carney folk. And we all know that that's a lawless society. When you're traveling from town to town, often under a fake name, there's a lot of things that went down in that culture that, it's just really being eradicated over the last 20 years.
That's tough. I'm gonna leave it alone because I really like y'all podcast and I don't want to get y'all canceled. So
Did you see how quick he
yeah,
disassociated? I
yeah,
really
he
like y'all podcast.
It's a y'all podcast. It ain't a math edition, but
He broke it.
you've
Dang,
been on
he broke away
you've
from
been on
me.
66% of the episodes, sir.
I'm looking at the logo says with Big Gerald and Mars.
Y'all podcast. It's our podcast, now, brother.
that's
Because
that's a quick
you came on and said we might get canceled. Don't play with me, brother. I see you, Courtney.
I want to be y'all Vince McMahon, man. It's all pulling open Cal Jones history. Oh.
we get Cal's tats.
Giggity.
Oh man. So we're gonna take any more questions. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes before we wrap this bad boy. Is there any questions? Josh, thank you so much for your comments. Please check it. He says, guesses on how long Triple H lasts. I would say that depends on what the evidence shows. I mean, obviously, it would be ideal for him to stay. I feel
Yes.
Triple H is safe because even when you listen to, like, in the 90s, you listen to Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall, he was always the one that kept his nose clean. He was always the one
Right.
that stood on business and was about business and really making the business a better place. You always hear all the female wrestlers are very comfortable around Triple H versus some of the stories that you hear about Vince. I even noticed last night when the Kabuki Warriors, or maybe the night before when they won the tag team belts, Triple H didn't do the normal hug picture. He pointed way away from them, making sure he wasn't touching any of these females. So I think he's going to be safe. The biggest thing I think he may obviously know about some of these things, but I think he'll be protected enough. And absolutely, man. Thanks for the discussion. Nice to meet y'all. Please tune in and make sure you give us a follow as well.
Hey Josh, my bad. I'm gonna drop the link to Mars channel. Him and Big Gerald, they got a great wrestling podcast if you're into wrestling. So I'll drop that link for you if you want to subscribe to the channel.
Absolutely, man. That's a good look.
Absolutely. Please check us out, man. So yeah. And for all you guys, here's the link. Make sure to give us a follow. So we're about to wrap this one up. Once again, another Royal Rumble. Take care, Josh.
Thanks again, Josh.
Decent Royal Rumble. We're on the road to WrestleMania, so these shows are going to be coming fast and furious for you guys. Speaking of Fast and Furious, Vin Diesel got some charges coming up. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's going to be any pop culture.
Let's just do a show on charges next week. I think the Como was it Chris, what the dude from CNN? He got
Chris
some charges
Como.
up. So it's just write a list of dudes that got charges. That'll be next week's show.
Next week's show, maybe it'll be an After Dark, the Me Too Chronicles, where we just start since the Me Too movement and see who's left. I mean, a few more charges. I think we might have a role in the Marvel movie, guys. So we might be the only ones safe.
Oh, I forgot about the Marvel dude. Yeah, we got Diddy. Yeah, we could do a whole 2 hours.
I might have to replace Jonathan Majors and just I will burn them out of time. There you go. That's all y'all get. That's all you get.
That's all you get for free.
So let's for free, right? I already got the Emmy for voice acting with Vince. So we're gonna go ahead and close this bad boy out. Let's start with Cal. Please let the people know. Once again, brother, thank you again for stopping by, being our voice of reason for some of the ludicrousness in the world of pro wrestling. We always appreciate your feedback. Please let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on.
You can find me Cal Jones Sports Unfiltered. We just dropped the episode yesterday. Looked like Mars is perfect through the playoffs with his picks. KC, from what I last saw, looked like they were doing the thing, so he may stay perfect. Yeah, KC's still up. So I've never seen a run like this for playoff picks. I mean, he picked all the upsets. He picked who was going to win. He said San Fran, KC in the Super Bowl is looking that way. He's one game away. The D.E.N will be back soon. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. This sports and wrestling podcast beginning to be my favorite ones. I'm really enjoying it. The crowd participation and everything. We may have to do some talking behind the scenes. All Punishment should be back soon. TikTok, Cal Jones 813. Instagram, same thing.
Absolutely, Big Gerald. Let people know.
Well, Instagram is Leroy J1117, Facebook at Gerald Williams. Of course, you can find me here on the Two Horseman Podcast. As the mastermind of this thing, man, I'm enjoying this. We're having a good time. Like I said, this just Royal Rumble and the stuff with Vince McMahon. As we progress and go forward, we got the Elimination Chamber, we got WrestleMania. Having these wrestling fans be upset with Cal as he steps his foot back in the wrestling is a wonderful experience. Of course, you catch me down in the den. Politicking as usual when it come back. Of course, below the whistle sports.
Already back. Season 2 is already dropped. Check it out.
Oh, there it is. And of course, you're gonna find me with the bros. Like I said, this is gonna only grow. I can't wait to get more people to come on the show, get their insight on something that me and Mars has been following since the beginning. Man, wrestling is a good thing. I'll say it all the time in my home. Women have their Lifetime, men have the WWE. It's the same good soap opera drama, so I'm here for it.
Absolutely. You know what we want y'all to do? Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you follow, join the network, turn those notifications on. So when these episodes drop, you'll be able to tune in. And one thing I want before we go is I want it to be a tradition every time we have someone on the show. Cal, who was your favorite pro wrestler growing up? Because we already gave our backstories on the first episode. I've got to ask you on episode 2. So who is your favorite pro wrestler growing up?
The best there ever was, the best there is, and the best there will ever be. Bret Hart. Best wrestler of all time. Not even close.
Had a Bret Hart shirt on the first episode. You missed it. You said his phrase wrong, but that's cool. I
wasn't gonna knock him. I wasn't gonna knock him at all.
It was so close.
Did I confuse the was and is?
It's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. You were like, the best it's gonna be, the best I ever see.
You gotta clip that up.
It was so close. It was
way
close. But man, I appreciate you, man, sharing And of course, you know who it is. It's your boy Mars, aka Marlon Beardo, the bearded weirdo, the bearded one, the Shud Knight of this podcast game, the Stella Rosa Casanova, the Gray Wonder, the curator of culture, and months other AKAs. And I'm here with my family. We're wrestling with the facts on the Two Horseman Podcast. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Check this out at 12 for the replay, and check out our first 2 episodes that are up right now. So we gave you 3 episodes in 1 week. If we take a break next week, don't be surprised, because we gave you a hell of a debut week, 3 episodes back to back. That's how we're doing. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, get yourself some merch. Don't forget those discount codes, however I spelled it. It's Cal Jones, all caps, CALJONES, or Dub Deuce, DUBDEUCE, all caps. And you can get yourself some of the cool merch, like this mug with my mug on it right now, and it supports the game. And that's being able to continue to create. So thank you guys, as always. And we end every episode the same way. Take the glasses off so you can see it. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga. For you. Two Horseman Podcast. We out, baby.
Peace.